Vasudevaya Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udirayet nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu Nityaṁ bhāgavata-sevayā bhagavati uttamashloke bhaktir bhavati neshtaki durlabhamanusho deho dehinam shanabhangure tatrapi durlabham manye vaikuntha priyadarshinaha vasudeva katha prashna purusham strin punatihi vaktaram shrotra Vaktaram pritchakam shrotram statpada salilam yatha Gurve gaur chandraya radhikaya tadalaye krishnaya krishna bhaktaya tad bhaktaya namo namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, dear worshipful devotees, thank you so much for joining. We are reading Canto 10, Chapter 1. We read Chapter 1 yesterday, or we completed, but there are some additional notes which I think we should read. So we read the last section of the additional notes. So today we'll try to complete this section by different acharyas. So let's read these wonderful notes. I'm reading at the end of chapter 1. These are those who read from the book. Regarding the transmigration of soul, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam gives the following notes. When one is awake, whatever one sees or hears is impressed upon the mind, which later works in dreams to show one different experiences. Although in dreams, one appears to accept a different body. For example, when one is awake, one does business and talks with customers, and similarly in dreams, one meets various customers, talks about business, and gives quotations. Madhvacharya says, therefore, that dreams take place according to one sees, hears, and remembers. Interesting point here. So the dream takes place according to what one sees, hears, or remembers. When one reawakens, of course, one forgets the body of the dream. This forgetfulness state is called apasmriti. Thus, we are changing bodies because we are sometimes dreaming, sometimes awake, and sometimes forgetful. Forgetfulness of our previously created body is called death. And our work in the present body is called life. After death, one cannot remember the activities of one's previous body, whether imaginary or factual. The agitated mind is compared to, okay, this is a different part. So it's a very nice lesson here that whatever we are dreaming is basically what our consciousness is throughout the day. If we are talking about whatever we are seeing, hearing, and remembering, these are the main, ways we absorb content is by seeing and hearing, right? Most of the content we absorb is by eyes and the ears, right? They are the jnana-indriya, absorbing knowledge. And we see actually like whole day we are using laptop and computers and so much internet. Practically these eyes and ears engage the most. So whatever we are thinking throughout the day, those kind of dreams will come. Right? And I think we discussed this point when we were reading the actual verse, because these are like additional notes from the verses by different acharyas. So we discussed some examples as well. Prabhupada is giving the example of They may be a customer service employee, like talking to customers, quotations and business, and so one will dream of that. If one is watching a lot of dance, and one will dream of dance. If one is watching a lot of like property or cars or whatever, that person will dream of. That's quite natural. And so it's natural to dream of Krishna when one is thinking a lot about Krishna. And that's what we really would like to. By whether we are sleeping or dreaming, to think always of Krishna. That's a very nice state. How will that happen? When we absorb more of Krishna Katha through our ears and eyes, then one day we'll dream of Krishna. Guru, Vaishnavas, services. Let's read the next paragraph. Okay. I would like to read this paragraph. Anyone?
Hare Kṛṣṇa Prabhuji. Hare Kṛṣṇa devotees. The agitated mind is compared to agitated water, reflecting the sun and the moon. Actually, the sun and the moon reflected on the water do not exist there. Nonetheless, they are reflected according to the movements of the water. Similarly, when our mind is agitated, we wander in different material atmospheres and receive different types of bodies. This is described in Bhagavad Gita as Gunasanga Karanam Gunasango Sya. Madhavacharya says Guna Nubhada San. And Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu says Brahmanda Brahmite Kone Bhagavan Jive. In Śrī-Caitanya-caritāmṛta Madhyalila 19:151. The living entity rotates up and down throughout the universe, sometimes in the upper planetary systems, sometimes in the middle, and sometimes in the lower planetary systems. Sometimes a man, sometimes a dog, sometimes a god, a tree, and so on. This is all due to the agitation of the mind. The mind must therefore be steadily fixed, as it is said, Savai Mana Krishna Padaravindayo. One should fix one's mind at the lotus feet of Krishna, and then one will become free from agitation. This is the instruction of Garuda Purana, and in the Naradiya Purana, the same process is described as stated in Bhagavad Gita. Yanti Deva Vrata Devan. The agitated mind goes to different planetary systems because it is attached to the different kinds of demigods. But one does not go to the abode of Supreme Personality of Godhead by worshipping the demigods, for this is not supported by any Vedic literature. Man is the architect of his own fortune. In this human life, one has the facility with which to understand one's real situation, and one can decide whether to wander around the universe forever or return home back to Godhead. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Aparai prayemam nivartante mrityu samsara vartmani. You want me to continue, Prabhupada? Okay. There is no such thing as chance. When a tree is burning in a forest fire, and although the nearest tree is spared, a distant tree catches fire, this may appear to be chance. Similarly, one may seem to get different types of bodies by chance, but actually one receives these bodies because of the mind. The mind flickers between accepting and rejecting, and according to the acceptance of and rejection of the mind, we receive different types of bodies. Although we superficially seem to obtain these bodies by chance, even if we accept the theory of chance, the immediate cause for the change of bodies is the agitation of the mind. Very good. Prabhuji, what I understood is, we always go on like Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi, sometimes in the higher planetary system, sometimes lower, sometimes in the earthly planets, and sometimes as a dog, as a demigod, or trees, all the 84 lakh species. But getting human life is very rare. So we have to utilize this and go back to our real home, back to Godhead. So sometimes people think, getting a different body is by chance. Like Prabhupada has given nice example where, a tree forest fire, one tree, one plant tree gets fire, but some other tree gets fire. So how the body changes, it's all actually a science based on our karma, our desires, our, as you rightly said about, the dreams, everything is what we think. So the easiest thing is just, sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam raja. Tvam sarva papebhyo mokshasya. So Krishna says, just surrender unto me. Don't think anything else, and I'll deliver you from all the sins, and you'll come back to Godhead. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Very nice. Okay, so we'll continue reading. Mataji, wanted to read or wanted to say some comments on this?
I can read when it's my turn. You can take your time. I just joined.
Yeah, we can.
Okay, thank you so much, Prabhu, for allowing me to read. Notes on Amsha. This chapter describes that Krishna appeared Amshena with his parts and parcels, or his partial manifestation. In this connection, Sridhar Swami says that Krishna is 100% Bhagwan. Krishnastu Bhagwan Swayam. Because of our imperfections, however, we cannot appreciate Krishna in fullness. Therefore, whatever Krishna exhibited when present on earth was but a partial manifestation of his opulence. Again, Krishna appeared with his plenary expansion Baldeva. Krishna, however, is full. There is no question of his appearing partially. In the Vaishnava Toshani, Srila Sanatana Goswami says that to accept that Krishna was partially manifested would contradict the statements Krishnastu Bhagwan Swayam. Srila Jiva Goswami says that the word Amshena means that Krishna appeared with all his plenary expansions. The word Amshena Vishnu do not mean that Krishna is a partial representative of Vishnu. Rather, Krishna appeared in fullness, and he manifests himself partially in the Vaikuntha Lokas. In other words, Lord Vishnu is a partial representation of Krishna. Krishna is not a partial representation of Vishnu. In the Caitanya-caritāmṛta Adi-lila chapter 4, this subject matter is explained very clearly. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also notes that no one can describe Krishna in fullness. Whatever descriptions we find in Srimad-Bhāgavatam are partial explanations of Krishna, or expansions probably. In conclusion, therefore, the word Amshena indicates that Lord Vishnu is a partial representation of Krishna, not that Krishna is a partial representation of Vishnu. Srila Sanatana Goswami's Vaishnava Toshani has explained the word Dharma Shilasya. The exact meaning of Dharma Shila is an unadulterated devotee. Real Dharma consists of full surrender to Krishna. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. One who has fully surrendered to Krishna is actually religious. One such religious person was Maharaj Parikshit. Anyone who accepts the principle of surrender to the lotus feet of Lord, giving up all other systems of religion, is actually Dharmashila, perfectly religious. So in this this one of the most important verses of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is that this verse is that Krishnastu Bhagwan Swayam. Krishna is not, there are many incarnations coming from Krishna, but Krishna is not part of somebody else's incarnation. A lot of times Hindus believe that, or even I used to believe when I was a child, that Vishnu has Dashavatar and one of those avatars is Krishna. So it's like really solid foundation of understanding Hinduism for me. But it is not so. We hear reference after reference given that Krishna is the full incarnation, Krishna is the Purnam, and from him all the kalas or all the amshas or all the fractions or all the expansions come out. And here Prabhupada also writes that Vishnu is not the source of incarnation of Krishna, but Krishna is the source of incarnation for Vishnu. Please add, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mataji. So wonderful. So many additional points. They're like double, many words have double meaning. So we have this in this verse. The word amshena is not that Krishna is the amsha of Vishnu, which many people believe. But here, in the Vaishnava Toshni, Jiva Goswami is explaining what the real, so it's Nathan Goswami explaining the real meaning, what this statement really means. It's very, very important, therefore, that Sanskrit, is such a deep language, the mother of all language. Prati shloke prati akshare nana arthekaya. There could be multiple meanings, multiple ways a verse can be understood. Now the question is, who's right then, right? Who's right? The person who knows the heart of the Supreme Lord is right. And these acharyas are no ordinary personalities. They know the heart of the Lord, right? What's that? Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishna Caitanya Namne Gaurti Shinamam. This verse was given by Śrī Rupa Goswami, understanding the heart of the Lord. And Lord Chaitanya said, how do you know my heart? There are multiple such exchanges between Swarup Damodar, Ramananda Raya, etc. They know the heart of the Lord. They know what Lord really wants. Srila Prabhupada, giving Bhakti-vedanta purports, knows what it's called Bhagavad-gītā as it is. What Krishna wants to convey. They know the heart of the Lord. Anyone can comment anything about Gita, Bhagavatam, yes. But will that be bona fide? Certainly not, unless that person is a pure devotee. So we are so glad and grateful for these wonderful purports and additional notes from the great acharyas. Okay, let's read more. Who's not got chance wants to read this verse, paragraph.
I can read, Prabhuji. Yeah, please go ahead. Mataji.
Thank you, Bruce. The word Nibratta Tarsei refers to one who no longer has any material desires. Sarvapadi Vinirmuktam. Sarvapadi Vinirmuktam. One may have many material desires because of contamination in this material world. But when one is completely free from all material desires, he is called Nibratta Trishna, which indicates that he no longer has any thirst for material enjoyment. Swamin Kritartha Smi Varam Nayache Haribhakti Shudhodaya. Materialistic persons want some material profit from executing devotional service, but this is not the purpose of the service. The perfection of devotional service lies in complete surrender unto the lotus feet of Krishna with no material desires. One who surrenders in this way is already been spiritualized. An iron rod kept constantly within a fire will ultimately become fire, and whatever it touches will burn. Oh, and touches will burn. Similarly, the pure devotee is in the fire of spiritual existence, and therefore his body is Chinmaya. That is, it is spiritual, not material, because the pure devotee has no desire but the transcendental desire to serve the Lord. In text 4, the word upagyamanat is used nibhratta tarser upagyamanat. Nibhratya tarser upagyamanat. Who will chant the glories of the Lord unless he is a devotee? Therefore, the word nibhratta tarse indicates the devotee and no one else. These are the remarks of acharyas like Viraraghava Acharya and Vijaya Dhvaja. To desire anything other than devotional service will diminish one's freedom from material desires. But when one is free from all such desires, one is called Nibhratta Tarse. Back to you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Wow. Thank you, Mataji. Anyone remembers reading that verse in the Bhagavad? Which canto, which chapter is it?
Dhruva Maharaj saying
Oh, I think maybe I can't hear or my network is not good.
Breaking, Prabhuji.
Prabhu, I couldn't hear what you were saying. Sorry, the network was not good. Perhaps.
Prabhu, I was saying that verse Nibbita Tashe, is it like that Samin Kritatta Asmi Baram Najache?
Nivritta Tarshe one I was asking.
Oh, okay, sorry.
These, I think maybe I thought it was quite obvious, but maybe the connection is missing. These are additional notes for this chapter, right? So these are additional notes for this chapter, and I think Nivritta Tarshe is 10.1.4, which I asked for those who are interested to memorize. Nivritta Tarshe upagiyamana bhavo shadachotra mano bhirama ka uttama shloka gunanuvada pumams virajit vina pashugnad puman virajit vina pashugnad. So that's a verse going on, and in the previous verses also were these some specific words. I'm not 100% sure if these additional notes are given by Srila Prabhupada or by the other Prabhupada disciples. I can always check, but these are certainly from our bona fide acharyas like Sanatana Goswami, Viraraghava-acharya, Madhvacharya, etc. So the point is we are discussing more on these words, specific words. The Nivritta Tarshe, referring to pure devotees. The other words used in this connection is sarva upadhi vinirmuktam, those who have given up all the material designations, all the material desires. They are not hungry after name, fame, wealth, beauty, recognition, etc. That person can speak Krishna Katha continuously, like Shukadeva Goswami. So it's not a business. Swamin Kritartha. Kritarthos mean varam na yache. What varam you want? I'm happy. I don't want anything. Kritartha. Satisfaction. So the Nivritta-tarshe word is important. Chant Hare Krishna, get rid of all the Trishna. Trishna we discuss in the Canto 4 also, Mriga Trishna. Mriga Trishna is desires, like a hiran, like a mriga, wanting different things, running after so-called happiness. The musk deer example is given. But pure devotees are satisfied. They're satisfied with whatever Krishna gives them. Heat or cold, wealth or poverty, health or disease, they are happy. They are tolerant. They are equipoised. They are sama. So, a lot of lessons. Any other thoughts in this connection or verse or comment or put? Okay, let's read the next part. Okay, we will read the next two points. Ravi Prabhu, those who didn't get chance maybe yesterday.
Yes, Prabhuji, I can read. Hare Krishna, devotees. Where to start, Prabhuji? Okay. Vina Pashu Ghanat. The word Pashu means animal. An animal killer, Pashu Ghana, cannot enter into Krishna consciousness. In our Krishna consciousness movement, therefore, animal killing is completely prohibited. Uttam Shloka Gunanuvadat Vadat Vadat. Uttam Shloka Gunanuvadat. The word Uttam Shloka means one who is famous as the best of those who are good. The Lord is good in all circumstances. That is his natural reputation. His goodness is unlimited and he uses it unlimitedly. A devotee is also sometimes described as Uttam Shloka, meaning that he is eager to glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead or the Lord's devotees. Glorifying the Lord and glorifying the Lord's devotees are the same, or rather, glorifying the devotee is more important than glorifying the Lord directly. Narottam Das Thakur explains this fact. Chadiya Vaisnava Sheva Nistara Payache Keva. One cannot be liberated from material contamination without sincerely serving a devotee of Krishna. Bhava Sadhat means from the universal remedy. Chanting the holy name and glorifying the Supreme Lord are the universal remedy for all the miseries of materialistic life. Persons who desire to be freed from this material world are called mumukshu. Such persons understand the miseries of materialistic life, and by glorifying the activities of the Lord, they can be released from all these miseries. The transcendental sound vibrations concerning the Lord's name, fame, form, qualities, and paraphernalia are all non-different from the Lord. Therefore, the very sound vibration of the Lord's glorification and name are pleasing to the ears. And by understanding the absolute nature of the Lord's name, form, and qualities, the devotees becomes joyful. Even those who are not devotees, however, enjoy the pleasing narrations of the Lord's transcendental activities. Even ordinary person not very much advanced in Krishna consciousness take pleasure in describing the narrations depicted in Srimad-Bhāgavatam. When a materialistic person is purified in this way, he engages in hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord. Okay, I lost the point. Okay, yeah, of the Lord, because glorification of the Lord's pastimes is very pleasing to the ear and heart of the devotee. It is simultaneously his subject and object. Hari Bol, Prabhuji. Do I have to read more?
You can share some key points that you liked from here.
The point that here in the beginning, there were a couple of words that was described, and then the later on it was mentioned that how important is to glorify the devotee of the Lord. Is like glorifying the devotee of the Lord is actually, more than just glorifying the God itself. And everything that we use to glorify the God and the devotee, like all the paraphernalia and all the stuff, they are non-different than God itself. So, and also in order to, if we have understood the miseries of this materialistic world, and then if you want to get out of the cycle of this bhavasagar, the birth and death, then the only universal remedies is glorifying the name of Lord and the devotees and chanting. Hari Bol, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much. So much details are there in this verse. Nivritta Tarshi. So even in Krishna book, if you open, Krishna book begins with this verse. Prabhupada mentioned or forward or in the very introduction, or before even the Krishna Katha actually begins, or chapter 1 begins, it's in the introduction. Okay, it's in the introduction. The introduction begins with this verse, Prabhupada wrote. So we can imagine how important is this verse. Yes, Nandini Mataji wanted to say something, please.
Just have one question. Please elaborate on. That was the part of the reading.
So sorry, Mataji, I didn't get that.
I understand what it is saying, but if I would appreciate if you can elaborate on this one sentence, because glorification of the Lord's pastime is very pleasing. It is simultaneously his subject and object.
Okay, when a materialistic person is purified, he engages in hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord. What I have read and heard from Senior Vaishnavas is like Harinam or anything in connection with Krishna. It is the holy name. It's said to be the revealer and the healer, right? It is the process and it is the prayojan. Avidya and prayojan both. So subject and object. What is the objective? Krishna prema. And through how do we reach it? Through the process of bhakti. What is the subject object? More bhakti, more seva, more sadhana. So it is a goal or the destination, and it is the journey also. So in multiple ways we can see the goal and the journey, the process and the goal of the objective, the subject or the object. So it's both. In material world, it's opposite, right? In material world, generally we are doing something to get something, isn't it? For example, studies, college. People go to college. Why one person? The goal is to get money, to get a job, right? For 99% of the people, one person maybe, I really want knowledge. 99% want a job. If they say, someone says, I'll give you a job in 6 months, same job. Who will want to get the 5 year in college? No one wants. Same job if they're getting in 6 months. Okay, I'll go with you. So ultimately, basically, in material world, they are different, but in spiritual life, they're the same.
Thank you. Very nice.
It's the means and the goal, the process, the journey. And therefore, it's so joyful, right? That's why, like, that's a nivritta tarshay is always jivan mukta sauchate. They're not going to be happy after this life. They're happy in this life. And whatever Krishna takes, whether heaven or hell, this world or that world, they're always happy. Because they are nivritta tarshay. And they are upagiyamana. Because they have taken this bhava-aushadhat, the remedy of Krishna Katha is a real remedy to uproot our disease. So those devotees are happy and free from all miseries. This is real vaccination. This is real immunity. Krishna Katha, Krishna's name, form, qualities. And it works all the time to not just help us cure from the temporary problems, but the absolute problems: birth, old age, disease, and death. We go. Okay, a little more. Okay. We'll read Prabir Prabhu. Want to read?
So I was just thinking in the last line, that verse in 10th chapter in Bhagavad Gita, Mat chitta mad gata prana bodhayantas katanticha ramantushanticha ramanticha. In that verse is also is like Lord's devotees, they get pleasure and they also preach delightfully about Lord's glorification. So just to add. Okay. Hare Kṛṣṇa Prabhu, Hare Kṛṣṇa devotees, Dandavat Pranam, Jai Śrīla Prabhupada. In this world, there are three kinds of men: those who are liberated, those trying to be liberated, and those entangled in sense enjoyment. Of these three, those who are already liberated chant and hear the holy name of the Lord, knowing perfectly that to glorify the Lord is the only way to keep oneself in a transcendental position. Those who are trying to be liberated, the second class, may regard the chanting and hearing of the Lord's holy name as a process of liberation. And they too will feel the transcendental pleasure of this chanting. As for Kurmis and person engaged in sense gratification, they also may take pleasure in hearing the pastimes of the Lord, like his fighting on the battlefield of Kurukshetra and his dancing in Vrindavan with the gopis. The word Uttamaslok Gunanubhado refers to the transcendental qualities of the Supreme Lord, such as his affection for Mother Yashoda and his friends, the coward boys, and his loving attitude toward the gopis. The Lord's devotees like Maharaj Yudhishthira are also described by the qualification Uttam Sloko Gunanubhado. The word Anubhado refers to the describing the qualities of the Supreme Lord or his devotees. When these qualities are described, other devotees are interested in hearing them. The more one is interested in hearing about these transcendental qualities, the more one transcendentally enjoys. Everyone, therefore, including the mumukshus, the vimuktas and the kormis, should chant and hear the glories of the Lord, and in this way, everyone will benefit. So here in these two paragraphs, Prabhupada is explaining here, I mean, those who are liberated, they already chant and hear the holy name of the Lord. And at the same time, they also know that to the to glorify the Lord is the only way to keep oneself in transcendental, means eternally attached to the Lord. And those who are trying to be liberated, they also know that then chanting and hearing the Lord's holy name, it's only process of liberation. So here the liberation means not like liberation from birth, death, old age, and disease. Here liberation means to get the eternal service, or to do the eternal service to the Lord. And the next part, Prabhupada is also explaining here that even the persons who are not devotees, they also get benefit just by hearing the pastimes of the Lord. Just like some people may like to hear about the battlefield of Kurukshetra, or just reading the Mahabharata or reading Ramayana, they will be benefited. Even it says like, even someone hears not even with devotion, but hears the Krishna's Rasalila pastimes, their desire for lust will go down. And the second paragraph, Prabhupada is saying here, the Anubado, which is referring to describing the glorification of the Lord and his devotees. And it says that when these qualities are described, it actually attracts. And if someone is interested, then they are going to be also get immense benefit from that. Hare Kṛṣṇa, Prabhu, back to this advocate.
Hare Kṛṣṇa, thank you, Prabhu. So who are the mumukshu, vimuktas, and karmis? Who are these? Just read. Who are mumukshu? Okay, well, karmi. Who are the karmis? Easy one.
Mumukshus who are looking for liberation.
Liberation is just read. And the vimuktas who are liberated. And karmis who are desiring sense gratification. Karma kanda. In the first line of this paragraph, we see that those who are liberated, those who are trying to be liberated, and those who are entangled in sense enjoyment. And in the last line, these are the Sanskrit words are used: vimuktas, mumukshus, and karmis. Remember, purusham trin punatihi. Are you able to connect now to the verse? So it purifies three kinds of people. Krishna Katha, it purifies three kinds of people. Actually, it was in the other verse, but Vasudeva Katha Prashna Purusham Strin Punatihi. But you can. So in short, the speaker here and the audience, but these are also three kinds of people: the mumukshus, the vimuktas, and the karmis. All three will be purified. All three will get benefit. How? By chanting, hearing Krishna Katha. Everyone will get benefit. Whether one hears it directly, indirectly, asks questions, takes pleasure in others doing so. There are so many verses which glorify the importance of Krishna Katha. And very, very nice. The process. It's Krishna Katha quotient. One's, eagerness to hear Krishna Katha determines one's affinity. One's affinity to hear Krishna Katha determines one's spiritual progress. So it's very directly proportional, as we were discussing the other day. Amongst the various limbs of bhakti, Shravanam is the most important. The most important. Very, very important. One of the most important limbs. The more, that's the line I was looking for. The more one is interested in hearing about these transcendental qualities, the more one transcendently enjoys. In short, happy. We all want to be happy. This is the real formula to be happy, to hear more and more. And these days, it's very easy with the phones, technology, YouTube. So many wonderful kathas are there. While eating, we can hear. While sleeping, we can hear. While driving, we can hear. In office, we can hear. At the grocery store, we can hear. And while brushing, we can hear. Who is stopping us? Is anyone stopping? There's no one stopping. Full permission is given by the Shastras. So you can hear constantly. And it's very helpful. Okay, any other thoughts, comments, any additions anyone has in this
You can
connection?
hear classes in Hindi, you can do yoga with Shivavilas Govind Prabhu. There's so many varieties he offers. Like you were saying just now. So many things you only offer. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
I can offer anything. It's all Krishna's. We are just a tiny puppet instrument. So thank you for your wonderful association. Anyone has any comments, questions, additions, any last few things?
So, Prabhuji, from the previous verses, I have one question. From 62 and 63, in the verse, that the inhabitants of Vrindavan headed by Nanda Maharaj and his associates, coward men, wives, are none are denizens of the heavenly planets. But Krishna's, when comes with the devotees from the spiritual planet, right, Prabhuji? So why it is mentioned here heavenly planets? Because heavenly planet is material.
Yeah.
Can I answer? Hi, Bob. So, Prabhu,
Yes. Mataji, please.
if you let me, I'll try.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So when Krishna is about to appear, he says that you demigods, please take birth in the Yadu dynasty and Vrishni dynasty, and then he comes from the spiritual world in Goloka Vrindavan with his associates. But also, when we as jivas are trying to go back to Godhead, we have one more stop. And Prabhupada explains many times that that's the Krishna's Leela is happening in some planet. So then we go join there. It's like tenure. It's like internship. We join that path, those pastimes. So that time we are not even heavenly. We can be earthly beings too. So those are the three different heavenly planet people became Vrishnis and Yadus, and then people who are going back to Godhead, they can join Krishna Leela, and even spiritual world people come to Vrindavan and take birth. Does that help at all? I just tried.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Thanks. Thank you, Prabhu. Very nice question. Okay, so we'll wrap up here, continue tomorrow, and hopefully tomorrow we'll complete all the notes. I hope everyone is relishing these wonderful notes. And 10.1.4 is important. We can see not only Prabhupada, but all the great acharyas have given extensive comments on this verse, which tells its high significance. So we'll complete these pending pages tomorrow, and that should wrap up chapter 1. Tantra Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Purana ki jai, Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai. Samaveta Gaur Bhaktavinda ki jai. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha sindhubheva patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo. Thank you so much. Hare Bol, Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Bol, Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol.